Like, how are you gonna find out someone's favorite fast food and also when they're trying to smoke their coffee? Like, you're not gonna find that?
May contain action.
Trevor May!
Paul, a.k.a. Action Jackson.
Two of our favorite people.
There is growing up that happens. I mean, no one can tell our voices apart anyway. That's very true. Good point, Trevor. Thanks, Paul. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 5, season 3 of the Make It in Action podcast, hosted by myself, Paul, also known affectionately as Action Jackson. And I am joined, as I mostly always am, by the one and only retired pitcher for a couple of teams in the MLB, Trevor May.
Zero-time All-Star. What's up?
Zero-time All-Star.
Come at me, fam.
Woo! Current novelist, kind of.
Current novelist. Dude, the fact that you've talked about my story so much, like, people are like, hey, look, it's the author. I'm like, dude, Paul's been talking about this a lot.
Dude,
huh?
I was jacked up when you were telling me about it, man.
I just want to know. Now I have to do it.
Yeah, you kind of do. Yeah, I kind of, yeah.
Now I got to make it work. Damn.
Lupo was really excited about it, actually. Yeah,
really?
I told Lupo about it, and he was like, I'm jacked up.
Where you're like, dude, you were not expecting it to be that.
I had
like
no idea.
Rich.
Yeah. How rich the world was. Yeah. You had a lot of things thought out.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. But it's fun. It's fun just chewing on characters. I don't know. I was told that that's how these things happen. Like you just think of a character, and then they just don't leave your brain. And you just constantly think about their story and stuff, and then like 3 years later they become a thing. Like that's kind of how it works. So the first part's working. I'm
good, man. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you succinctly fleshed out basically the entire world.
Yeah.
Now, like I may have said this before, it comes the hard part where you have to write a book.
You got to write.
Writing the book is probably the hardest part.
And I think there's going to be there's going to be a before time. It's probably going to live in another version somehow, like some way. First, like I kind of want to do a D&D campaign with the world.
Yeah.
And then let the characters that are playing in it start to like inform it a little bit more. So based on some of their decisions, maybe I change the mechanics. I'm like, oh, that actually works better. Like, because I mean, these things are like a lot of people think that, especially fantasy novels, are like these solo projects. Not even remotely close.
Oh, really?
Like the editor's like 45% of the story, man.
Really?
Like, that rapport between your editor and you is like you're almost like best like friends.
Whoa.
Like, because editors are the ones that because you write a 500-page book, like, as you can imagine, if you didn't have your editor sitting there scrutinizing it, like you would just repeat sentence structure over and over and over, because you're just trying to get the ideas out of your head, and then they make it cohesive and make sense and easy to read. And they're gonna be like, this character is whiny a lot. Like people are gonna be like, oh my god, shut up.
This guy says therefore a lot, or however
a lot. Like that's not language anymore. They're a robot. Yes. So we gotta clean that up.
I didn't even think about that. Okay. Do you have an editor?
Yeah, so
in mind?
No, of course not. I don't jack. But a lot of times it's like it starts with just your significant other, and thank God Kate likes fantasy. So she would read it and give me this is what I'm imagining when I read this, and if it's not what I'm imagining, or if it's really far away, then there's maybe some adjustments to do. But anyway, she's writing stuff too.
Yeah, that's right.
Also, she's better. Actually, she's a much more eloquent writer than me. Way better at prose and way better at communicating her ideas, because she's just better at that. But I've always been an ideas guy. I think we've established that.
Oh yeah. She also did that for work. That was part of her thing.
Yeah. The project managing was literally her work. But that's what I'm learning now.
My gosh.
I'm excited to get that going. But how about you, man? What's up? By the way, everyone, if you didn't notice, PM's not here. PM has a new job, IMAR producer today. So we've sorry, PM. we love you, dude, and we miss you, but we also understand that this is we were like, hey, man, you got to go. You can't make it one morning when we schedule it. It's all good. We got
Exactly.
this. I know tech.
He's got a lot.
I don't have a job.
I know things. No, he's got a big important job, and he's got to make it work. So I totally get that. That makes sense.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Me, thank you for asking. I am, you know what, dude? I'm at a stage in my career where I got to figure out what I'm doing in the short term to medium. Like, I know what I want to do long term, but like in the short to medium, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? Like, how do I do this? So some people may or may not have known, the Crown Channel recently had all of their employees laid off. Amazon did some big layoffs in their games division, and that included the entirety of the Crown Channel. If you don't know what the Crown Channel is, it's a channel on Twitch that did a lot of gaming related pop culture content centered around shows. They had a lot of shows. I was on one of them, or several of them actually, but I hosted two of them, Fight Night and One Up for the Win. Both great shows. A lot of fun. I did the one with Chelsea Bites, Fight Night, for 3.5 years. So it was a long thing. Anyway, all that being said, they shut down, laid off. So any future shows I had planned with them are gone. And so I'm kind of like, okay, you're kind of planning on that, right? Planning on that being a part of the future. You know, it's kind of like a wink, nod, handshake type of thing for new shows coming up later this year and then next year. And now those are gone. So you kind of got to figure out, okay, what do I do now? How do I readjust, reorient, and how do I make up for, honestly, that lost income? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's a little bit challenging. I know that we're going to be all right, but it's kind of like, what do I do? I gotta go back to my roots and make content.
Making content. I did notice. I'm like, oh, look, that's an Instagram reel. That's a TikTok. By the way, big shout out. Was that RV?
No, I made those.
You made those?
Yeah, I made those.
Did you use an AI tool?
Of course I used an AI tool, dude. Are you kidding me?
Which reminds me, I actually have a different tool that I think you'll be very, very interested in for getting
for D&D?
Getting for grabbing content out of your streams and your videos and stuff, like grabbing the moments. And it's powered by it's got some pretty strong AI stuff going on where it points you to all these directions where the hype goes up, where the chat kicks up. It's got all this stuff mapped onto your timeline, so you can go to the spikes and stuff and find it. This isn't I actually just got, it's in beta, so it's not available for everyone. So I'm tempted to just say the name now.
Okay, I mean,
because they're cool with it, but not everyone's going to be admitted. It's called River, RIVR. I believe there are some big people that we know. Yeah, your boys, all the boys.
Oh, dude, I've heard of this.
All uses
yes,
it.
I've heard of them.
And I can get you connected, and they'll get you set up because it is freaking awesome.
Trev. I want to be connected.
And the tools they have coming, like the features, dude, where you can literally train it. These are the things I'm looking for. You can create these action trees. And then it can do. You can almost automate it from from the moment it happens in stream. It will grab it, cut it, and upload it.
Oh,
eventually, that's where we're hoping to go. I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but you know what? It's awesome. I think that once it's released to the public, that it will be a small subscription, and I won't say numbers because they haven't locked it in, but I'll just say it's going to be a lot more affordable than you think it is for everybody. Dude. Like anyone will be able to get it, which is it's super cool. These guys are awesome. They do great. I mean, so far I'm like, how has it worked this well?
I appreciate this because this is exciting because it feels like I'm using one right now. I'm not going to name who it is, but it feels clunky and kind of unintuitive. And now it's gotten to the point
one that I told you about.
I think so. I can't remember actually.
Because it is.
Yeah. And I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm just using it to make the video vertical. Like that's what I'm using it for. Like all the other features, everything just feels so like, here's the kitchen sink. Like here's a bunch of crap, and it doesn't do really any of them super well. But
it's all manual.
Yes. But I am using another app to do the captions. So I'm actually honored that you thought the video was done by RV, because I was like, dude, I've been looking for an automatic AI captions app like this for a while, and it works really well.
Oh no, actually, I can tell by the slant.
Yeah.
That what you use. I know what you use.
By the slant.
It's not the one that I told you about. The one which is actually the one you're using is less clunky than the one I'm using. So, but this river thing is like the customization, and then you'll just be able to set templates so where like to a point where you're just like, oh, just drag and drop.
Oh, I love that.
But I also learned how to do those captions in Premiere, and like I made it a preset, and now I just like put the preset on, and then it automatically puts everything in the same color in the same place where I want it.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly the way I want it. Immediately. So, but you also have to edit the short in Premiere.
Oh, yes, of course.
Which is fun. I like doing it. Anything that's Trevor May Baseball, my YouTube channel, plug.
Yeah.
Is me. I think I'm gonna edit everything on that channel because it's really, really fun. But all my other channels are gonna start getting other people involved because it's too much.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot, dude. I mean, I made 3 clips. I released one because the other one's going to come out tonight. And bro, I mean, maybe this sounds really privileged of me, which I get, but I'm just like, the time it takes to do this stuff is crazy. Like I had to learn the program, and then I had to find the program. Then I had to learn the program, and then I had to put it into practice, rough draft it 10 times, make a mistake. You know, like that took hours to do all that. And I'm kind of getting a little bit better with it, but I'm like, this is taking so much time away from like my family and whatnot. Like, so the decision to, am I going to grind this out and do this? I have no choice. Like I have to, right? It just means it's going to take something from somewhere else. So it's, I don't know. I shout out to all the editors out there who make it look easy. My goodness, it's a lot.
I would highly recommend you taking it from your stream.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, but like that's what it's just frankly the being live, and we love you guys. And honestly Paul's relationship was a little bit different than mine, but like the ability to monetize while you're live is only kind of shrinking, which sucks a lot. And starting to have to depend a lot of like on tips, not bits, like tips, because the payouts are shrinking.
Yes.
Because of policies, and we don't know if they're just going to keep doing that to try to close some hemorrhaging that they're doing somewhere else because of their own business practices are hurting the people that are creating the whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's just like the Twitch, especially. It's just not. It's not as not. I don't want to say easy, but it's not as. It's harder to make a true living, like a secure living.
Oh,
it's more volatile.
Yes.
It's very volatile, and so. That time trade-off becomes less and less valuable.
Exactly.
And so if you're like, discovery is important for me, and if I could add 20 viewers onto this because I'm streaming for a half an hour less or an hour less a day, so like 3-4 hours a day less a week, but I spend that time now making 3, 4, 5 discoverability videos. That's just the way it works now, and you have to do that. But then again, like they can interact with that, and the way because I'm not streaming as much. I'm only streaming about 10 hours a week. Yeah. But I'm spending way more time in Discord.
Oh.
And that's a much more rich interaction for me, like talking to people there. And so I'm trying to, because I do like interacting. So I'm like, how do I do that better? And I'm still streaming, but like, how do you do that better in a little bit better return on investment? Because that's just kind of how things have especially changed since we had our hockey stick moments in 1890.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, and like the market, like you said, is shrinking. So the market is for monetizing live streaming content is shrinking, or at least it's concentrating, right? It's concentrating towards the top 1%. And then they've also taken basically 20% of a lot of the smaller streamers' money away. So anyone who had the 70-30 split, that is. So, I mean, that's a good amount of people. It includes me. So that money is gone.
And me. Also me.
Yeah. Any of the pro players, anybody who just got partnered right off the rip. And like, that's the thing that it sucks. Like I worked really hard to get that 70-30 split. And then they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, we don't really care anymore. So that's less.
Yeah, we need it.
They
is what
they
said.
need it.
We need that.
They
actually.
need it. Hey, actually, sorry about that. And they literally took their little paw and they took 20% off the table.
They're
just
like, Jeff's moving to Miami, guys. We need that. You know, like
exactly. Oh, and also sidebar. At last I knew, I could be wrong on this, but I'm fairly certain that the Crown Channel was making them money, and they were like, "No, we're gonna get rid of it."
what?
So yeah, like I had net positive shows, and they're like, "No, we don't want this anymore." So it's like I don't even know what Amazon's doing, and I hate being beholden to them, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you're the idea guy, right? I carry out tasks in front of me, and so
Yeah.
I'm just like, Twitch is what I do, man. Twitch is my thing. That's what I stream on. That's what I do. That's what I know. Not even that well, because Jen shows me a new feature every week that I don't even realize is a thing. But like the thought of like, what am I gonna do instead? Like make unboxing videos? Like what am I gonna, you know?
I mean,
I don't know how to transition.
I bet you that would be a very good lane for you to be in. That and like I think you would crush that. You would crush that. Not only that, like what's better than companies sending you stuff,
Yeah.
and then all you have to do is
Talk about it in the open and out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can do that, obviously
Yes.
great. But you know, every single industry is every single like theme or content, you know, lane is has a lot of people in it generally. Like you're not going to find a true niche. You're going to be doing something that other people are doing in a different way.
Yeah.
That's originality is the way you do it, and then you kind of just like you don't just get that first time out too. So one thing that I think that one of my superpowers in this space, at least, I have definitely some kryptonite, but one of the superpowers is I do not care. I'll just make, like I made a baking video last time. I'm just gonna make this.
Yeah.
Because I want to. We'll see what happens. And it did.
Did you
okay.
have a separate channel for that?
No.
Yeah, I'm terrified of that. I got to make a whole new channel.
But that's the thing. Like, I didn't know if I was going to do it a lot. It was like, where do I test it? How do I test if this is going to do well? And I think that it would. But it's like getting to the essence of like what encapsulates everything you do. And of course, I struggle with it because baseball and gaming, just the Venn diagram just does not overlap enough. It's just very hard to do that. And so it's like, what do I like to do? Learn stuff. Try new things, and there's a bunch of people who build YouTube brands on that. So I mean, I'm like, how do I do that? Because that's the thing I enjoy the most, and I bring the most value to people too. Because that's overall I want people to be like, oh, that's helpful to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good. Now I'm fulfilled. Thank you so much. That sounds great to me. So it's like that. Like you love unboxing videos. You love tech.
Yeah.
You love knowing about all the tech. You love cooking
True.
and grilling and smoking. Like those are, I don't know how else to say that. Those are things that there might. There's no reason to like. I mean, yeah, it's your sweat equity. You're putting in time. Be like, I'm just gonna record this or see what
happens.
How this works if I set a camera up in the kitchen. How does this work?
Exactly.
What happens?
How does it work?
And then you can record something and be like, I'm not going to use this. I hate this. This sucks. Because if you don't like it, you don't like it. But like, there's no. Sometimes you just got to try. I try all kinds of crap, and 95% of it just is like, I'm never doing that again. and that's just the way. You just got to be okay with that feeling like you learned something and that was what you got from it. And honestly, maybe the Crown Channel thing is maybe a blessing in disguise to allow you to just throw stuff against wall and see what sticks and do the things that are really enjoyable to you, because over time, as you enjoy and do it, that comes through and people like your vibe and how you approach a subject. I'm trying to stay. I'm realizing that my baseball stuff, when I am fun and doing my Twitch persona, but talking about baseball, those do the best. Those do the best by far. When I'm like, oh God, and I'm yelling and whatever, just being weird.
Make fun of owners.
Also in the baseball space, where I'm not just over there like, let me just teach you via lecture. Like I got to make it funny. But that's starting to. I'm locking that in. Yeah. So, and again, I got ideas, man. Here we are on the pod too. You guys heard an ad, or you're gonna hear an ad. I actually don't know where we are. If we're gonna put it after this or before this, but it's happening. So, whatever that ad says, do it. Thank you so much.
This episode is sponsored by Throne via Throne Exchanges. Throne's Gift Exchange allows you to connect with other creators and communities in a fun Secret Santa kind of way. All participants are guaranteed a gift in this exchange. Every person who signed up will deposit the minimum gift amount. And if for some reason your matched gifter doesn't choose a gift for you, which is very sad, one of our volunteer regifters or Throne staff will select a gift for you. Gifting minimums make sure that every person will receive a gift of similar value. You can also create your own private exchange for you and your gifter. You can pick the dates, minimum gift amounts, and the theme. It's an amazing way to get the entire community involved wherever you stream, make content, or just friends, family. Throne Exchange is currently available in the US, UK, Canada, Spain, Italy, France, Netherlands, Germany, and Australia. Congratulations, those down under. Once a deposit is taken, you'll be matched with another person in the exchange. The person gifting you will likely not be the same person you're buying a gift for, which makes it very cute and adorable for Secret Santa stuff. After you're matched, you'll have a few days to select the gift through the exchange site. If your gifter does not choose a gift for you, again, we will regift it. It's very exciting. You should definitely participate. We have a link in the description below the video, or if you're listening on the podcast, in the description of the pod. Go ahead and click it, get started, and join our Throne Exchange through the Make Contain Action Media firm? Nah, I'm going to call us a firm. Get started, click the link, and join the exchange for Secret Santa.
What else? How's the fam?
Dude,
How's
hey,
yours?
look,
Everybody
I
doing?
appreciate it. All right, fam's doing good. Everyone's happy, healthy. I can't complain. Ezra's figuring out how to get higher on countertops and take things from counters.
Oof.
So there's
There we go.
Yeah, so we got to figure that out. But yeah, it's good. It's good though. It's like I want him to develop, right? But I also don't want him to touch anything. So it's like a hard balance between those two things. But yeah, no, everything's good. I appreciate it.
That's
Oh, yeah.
good. That's good. Well, before we get into our movie, which Paul chose, and I'll let him do that in a second, I actually had part of this check-in that I thought was an interesting thing that actually ties into everything we just talked about. And there is are you familiar with what a zine is?
I have no idea what a zine is.
Okay, so a zine, which this is so like artsy fartsy, like hipster. It was for a while, but now it's becoming like a content creator thing. So zine is just like it's not a book or a magazine. It's like a little. It's like what a ninth grader would make for a final or something. Like you can make a zine. It's like a mini little book that's stapled together.
Okay.
And so like creators have been doing this just to share like like their process. So there's one actually from Tom Sachs and Van Neestat, which is or Neistat. Is it Neistat?
Oh, I think it's Neistat.
Neistat. It's Casey's younger brother.
Yeah, I think it's Neistat.
So Tom Sachs, frankly, I don't know his big story, but he basically they run a creative studio in New York City, and they created this thing called the 10 Bullets method.
Okay.
And so this zine is called 10 Bullets. I just bought it because I want to have the paper to like write on and stuff and keep. But it's like 10 bullet points for how it's their code for how they operate their studio.
Okay.
Everyone follows. These are their rules. Some of them feel very rigid, but it's the best way to approach working in a space with other people that are creatives also, that are like, it's messy, it's loud. So like the best way, and there's power tools everywhere, right?
Okay.
So the best way for us to operate is to follow these rules. And sometimes they're like, we don't like, because there's recording happening and there's all this stuff, like we never slam the door. We put it, like, imagine a baby's crying. We're closing the door, like little stuff like that. But always like, when we come in, our backpacks go in this place or this place. This is our code. And everyone gets trained on the code. They're like, you walk directly from your station to get the tool and then back when you're working, when your block time off. We don't stop and talk to the people working on something unless they expressly ask us to. Like, these are rules that you want to try to follow to keep it a clear, like, communication is very, very easy when these very simple rules are put into place. So it sounds very rigid, but in reality, they've developed such a great process that it's very enjoyable to work on. So the only thing they're worried about is making the thing they're making. And everything else.
What's an example of a thing they're making?
Like, so like they do like NASA grade sculptures. Like they make like bespoke, like they make like make things for very specific situations, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like for creative projects, it's kind of weird. But they have like he's very famous for it.
This is possibly one of the craziest things you've ever brought up on the pod.
So anyway, the point is the 10 bullets method is super interesting because it's super like it's incredible. Like the first one is we follow the code. So you like make your code based on whatever you're trying to do. So this is a different way I've thought about, because I'm trying to make all this stuff a business. Like thinking about it that way.
Business, Trevor.
Keeping it organized.
Of course.
Like I've tried to find assets and video and stuff over the last few days. I'm like, oh my God, everything's everywhere. Like this is driving me crazy. I hate this. I need something better. I moved my desk. You can see it on the video right now. I moved this because this works so much better.
Okay.
So like the second bullet point is sacred space. You have these spaces that are sacred, meaning they're for the thing that you've identified them for and only for that thing, which I love because like you work from your house, Paul. I work from my house. Sometimes it's hard to separate like what's living and what's working.
Yes.
Like it's very hard to do
sure.
that. And so what you do is you create sacred spaces in your head. Like the living room is for hanging out with my family, watching shows, blah, blah. When I'm here, I have no reason to have a laptop on my lap doing anything. If I want to, sure. But I'm going to say that's not what this is for. I'm in here to do this thing. Like that chair over there is for sitting and reading. I read in that chair. So when I'm there, my brain goes, I'm reading.
Okay.
See how that like, so you're not like constantly like, whoa, I should be doing, so you're just not wandering around your house all day getting nothing done because you're just bouncing around. You know what you're supposed to be doing by where you are. And I'm like, that seems so simple, but no one does that. No one really does it. So like I started to write these like very simple rules. Like at the end of the day, I don't have no pile of papers is allowed to be on my desk at the end of the day. I have to put it where it goes. And then I pull it back out to work on it later.
A pile of papers right now.
Sits in piles. Oh, my pile's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But like a catch-all, like when something doesn't have anywhere to live, it goes in this pile only. This is the only pile that needs to be sorted.
Okay.
There's not piles everywhere. There's one place, and it's there every time. So if I see something there, that means it needs to be taken care of.
Okay. All right. I mean, I can get behind
like that kind
that.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, you're probably I think you are naturally better at this than me already. Like just in general, like prioritizing the family. Having like stream ends at this freaking time.
Well, that's a credit to Tirza. She's forced me to compartmentalize. So,
but exactly, but like that's necessary for being in a partnership.
Yeah.
So I've been struggling now. I'm like, okay, why do I feel like I'm getting nothing done when I made 3 videos and did this and that and this and that? So I'm developing this system. So this Tom Sachs, the 10 bullets method, it's super simple. Read it because it's a 20 page thing. There's a YouTube video that they show their employees that's on YouTube. So you can just watch that if you want. It's very interesting. It's a different way of thinking about like, what do I want out of this? And if I feel like if I need to do more, I want to be more consistent with it. What would my code look like? And it's cool because it just shows you how to do it. And I was like, this is awesome. So it's going in the newsletter. Subject to my newsletter. It's going to be in this week's. But I just found that, and I feel like, especially with what's going on with you and where I'm at, what I'm doing, I feel like it was just really relevant to write this.
For sure.
And of course, I love productivity stuff. I like productivity and efficiency people like you like unboxers.
Yeah. Where I'm like, man, implementing that kind of stuff takes a certain type of I feel like neurodivergence in some way. A
little bit, or like you're neurodivergent, so you struggle. With it, so it's even more interesting to you because you're like, wow, that's the exact opposite of me, and I want more of that. And I think that those guys are like that too. I think that's why they did it. They're very I feel like I'm very creative and I like ideas. I'm very creative, like creating stuff, but I get disorganized and I get ahead of myself. And then I get frustrated. And that's just the pattern of my life. And if I can be like, is this part of the code? Then it helps with that.
You're trying to hack yourself.
I'm trying to hack myself. Yeah, you're designing your life around the things that you naturally do, which is very interesting. Yeah, life design's a whole nother thing. We're not gonna get into that. We're gonna get in the movie. Paul, introduce our movie this week because I'm so pumped up by this movie.
I would love to introduce the movie. All right, so here are some stats for the movie, right before we announce what the movie is. Box office revenue, $37.6 million. Not bad, especially if you're Daisy Ridley. About 37 times what you made. I don't even know anything about. I just saw the headline. By the way, Daisy Ridley was in a movie. It only made like 800,000 box office. Like real bad. Yeah, big yikes. The budget for the movie was 18, so they had a pretty good ROI there. Release date April 7th, 1995. So late 1900s here. We're moving back. Got to keep up. They did have movies back then. The movie didn't win any major awards, but gained a cult following and is cherished by many for its heartwarming story, especially those in our generation, i.e. 1995 millennial, obviously. It is an animated movie, and it is like an adventure comedy type of thing. It's really, really good. Our movie, should I read the? Yeah, let's read the movie. The movie is a Goofy movie.
Goofy move. Oh, that was good.
So good. So we have some categories we're going to break down and kind of go through them together as a family. I just want to say, as we can start, a little preface here, a little preface. I freaking love this movie. I love it. I feel like a quarter of my personality is based around this movie. So.
Okay, so I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great way too. Like, you chose it.
I chose it.
And
yes.
I would love to start. Like, what's the significance? Why? Like, what? You don't have to like get into the nuts and bolts of the movie, but like, was it because of it was a certain time in your life when you were watching it all the time? Is it like it was a movie that was always on at grandma and grandpa's house?
Yeah.
Like, what was?
So it was. So a couple of things, some major points that hit home for me, which I think is why it's so important to me. One. It's a father-son story. I'm a freaking sucker for father-son stories. I love them. I think they're so great. Nothing against, mother-son stories or I can't really relate to the mother-daughter one, but I just feel like when males in my life showed emotion, it was a big deal, because that generation did not show emotion really. It was like, you were like, I think my dad's proud of me. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, not everyone had that experience, obviously, but I mean, there's been like maybe a few times where my dad has said it. My dad was a great dad. A few times where he has said it because he didn't get it from his dad. I've like held on to that. So like that was like everything for me. So father-son stories I freaking love. And then also it was actually one of the first movies, especially an animated movie, where I felt like kind of represented in it. Like it felt, I was like, I think all these characters might be black, or at least some version, right? Like some sort of minority group, like it was, or at least brown, like it was. I mean, their fur, I mean, they didn't really show it as fur, but their fur is like pitch black. Like black noses. A lot of the culture seemed very hip hop, and obviously the main song is very hip hop R&B. So those are the main two things: father-son story and that. Sorry, I feel like I went too long on that, but that's why that's why I was like, we should watch this. So
that's
yes. Yeah, I mean, you also love the movie too. What was your? I mean, you obviously didn't pick it, but you were like emphatically in support of it. Do you remember watching as a kid?
Yeah. No. This was one of the VHSs we had at one of my really good friends, Jake, growing up. So, like, we watched Disney movies constantly, but Jake, for whatever reason, Goofy movie was one of our go-tos. Yeah. I think it was just because of the whole. I don't know, man. I thought I was going to be in a boy band. I think
everyone did. Really everyone wanted to be in one. Yes,
but like this was remember, this is like 95 to 2000, prime NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. Obviously Powerline in the movie is based on Michael Jackson. That's very clear. So like that, like the pop star, stuff was big, huge. Like it's big now, but in a different way. But like it was just like that whole performing on stage and stuff. Like I was like. And it's pretty clear that I wanted to perform too. So like I just identified with Max and like the way that he wanted to get attention. I was like, that's how I want to get. I like getting attention that way.
Exactly.
So like that's why it landed to me. And then that I have a great for it. You know how like when you're playing a video, I always use this in video games because we spent so much time doing this. But like we talked about this before when we were playing World of Warcraft again, and we were saying when I play this game and I'm in this in this area or whatever, I have a taste that I've associated because I ate something all the time when I was playing this. Like with this movie, it was a bowl of like butter popcorn, just like microwave popcorn, and then like goldfish.
No way. Oh, mixed
So
in?
it was just like that was our it was like our snack, like our kid snack you could have, and they always had that huge like gallon thing of goldfish, and they always had microwave popcorn. So we just go down in the basement.
Oh yeah.
We would we would play a couple games of NFL Blitz.
Yes.
And then we'd watch the Goofy movie.
Oh my dude, take me back. Oh my goodness.
So
let me relive that day.
That's my significance. So that's why I was so pumped the other day when you guys when we brought you're like, we're doing the Goofy movie. I'm like, yeah, we are. I was so excited. So excited.
Freaking love it. Okay, that's awesome. I feel like it is a movie that elicits so many emotions, and like it also feels like, well, I mean, we can get into this too, but like you're saying, it has a cherished culture that you wrote, at least, that like you felt like maybe you were alone in, but then when we got older, we're like, you like the Goofy movie too? Like you also like it? So good.
Yeah, so
all right.
Good. And then this was prime. We'll get into this in a minute, but this was prime animated movie time too.
Oh my gosh, the orange Nickelodeon boxes were the best. I know this wasn't Nickelodeon, but this is the same time period. So anyway, all right, our categories. The first one, the Vivian Ward rating for the opening scene, rated 1 to Vivian. I'm gonna give this one. I mean, we're looking 9.5/Vivian. I mean,
it's up there.
This is. I don't know how you do a better opening than this. I don't really know what to improve here. Like I have no notes. I mean, you start off with the dream sequence. It's magical. I mean, I could live in that dream sequence. It's like animated so well, and then it turns to the horror of Max turning into his father. So we immediately know what the struggle is of the main character. The struggle is, I don't want to be my dad. And that was apparent as a child.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be my dad or I don't want to be embarrassing. And like not only that, like he grows the big goofy feet, he gets the teeth, and then he has the laugh. The things that like the three things
so good.
Yeah, like the three things that he associates with his dad being embarrassing, you see immediately.
Yeah.
So we see the teeth. And then, like later, the teeth get a callback where he realizes they're actually really useful. They're not.
Yeah, that was really cool. I love
awkward. And then the laugh, the same thing. Like it all gets kind of diffused. So I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because it establishes what the conflict is going to be right away, and or establishes this is the general theme of the plot. Pay attention to this. That's what a Vivian is. Vivian is like the movie's called Pretty Woman, and she's walking down the street. Very clearly a pretty woman. Like this is her. That's her thing. This is what it's about. So this is going to be around that, and the whole movie revolves around that. That's why it's a Vivian. Yes. So like this did almost that. Just because honestly, the only reason it's docked is because I'm like, because one is the benchmark. So I was like, let's give it a little bit below the benchmark, but like not at like the dream sequence sets it up, and I love this is what I want, and then this is how I feel like me turning my dad is going to ruin that. His dream is literally ruined by him coming up with his dad. His dream that he actually has, what's the whole movie's about, which is
which he then.
It's like the whole plot plays out in the first 10 seconds, and then we see it actually.
It's called back several times throughout the movie, which is super helpful. Like you at no point are like, man, what does Max even want? You know, like you know exactly what he wants immediately, and then you know exactly what Goofy wants immediately. He desires a relationship with his son and wants to be more close. I mean, it introduces all of the characters as well. If we're kind of getting past the dream sequence, you get this musical number with all the characters basically, except for maybe like a handful that aren't consequential. But yes, that's what I gave it. 9.5 to 10. Yeah, I mean Vivian's the benchmark, right? I mean, 9.5. It's hard to beat that.
What about Ensatak?
Oh gosh,
Ensatak Isengard, best scenes. What do you got for that?
I mean, there's so many iconic scenes in my mind for this movie. Picking the best was so hard, and even now I'm like kind of like waffling back and forth. I mean, I think the most iconic scene is the final concert. That's clearly the most iconic scene.
when they get on
Yes.
stage. Yeah.
But there's this like what is it called when there's a movie term for this when the gun doesn't go off, like Chekhov's gun or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So
when you're expecting the explosion
and it doesn't happen. They kind of do that in the beginning dance sequence where he like is dressed up and he's on stage for the final like whatever day of school. And they do all that, and you're like, "Oh my god! Like this is gonna be amazing!" And then it like, boo, like the music gets cut out and everything.
Whoa. Yeah.
And they pay it off in the end, so the gun does go off. But I love that scene.
That's just good writing.
It is.
That's a great.
It's such a good.
It's a well written movie, man. It really is. I mean, it's simple, but like, they executed
exactly.
It's like almost a Spielberg.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like. You know, I was kind of watching it thinking to myself, like, are we really watching like an animated movie? Like, are we doing like was this a good idea? But it's written really well. I feel like we're only used to like, oh, you know, Into the Spider-Verse is a really good movie and it's written well, but it's also animated. That's, I feel like maybe more when people started to take those movies seriously, but we were making movies that were animated that were really good before then, i.e. Fantasia and this movie and others. Anyway.
And Toy Story.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
We're gonna we'll get in the list and where it ranks in a bit. But,
what was your favorite scene? Your Ents attack.
I mean, the power line on stage, like when they get on stage with power line, and none of that. I think that one thing that's really underappreciated here, and I think is really valuable for now the kids. I think that it's more valuable now, like that the fact that power line's like, oh hey, random people, hey, let's freaking party together. Like he's just in. And I think that now we're like, don't get near celebrities.
Yes. Yeah.
Like don't get like if that were made now, someone would tackle them, and then they would go to prison, and then the movie's over. And you're like,
exactly.
Oh. Like this is more like have dreams. Like who knows, you know? It will probably work out and it'll be fine. And I think that's just really valuable now. But like I love that scene. And then just from the pure like this is ridiculous, but I love it. When the RV when they run into Pete and PJ and their RV unfolds.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm like, it's got a bowling alley.
Yeah.
That's just the most Disney shit ever. But then, probably the funniest moment, and Kate and I watched it because she loves it.
Oh, awesome!
We watched it together, and when they go, God, what's the park they stop at with the possum?
Something's Possum Park. Yeah.
Something Possum Park. When he's like, "Come on, we'll go in. It'll be fun," and then the girl's like, "I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in." As her, like she's like, "I don't want to go in." She's trying not to get pulled into the possum's mouth. I was like, and then Kate goes, "This used to scare the hell out of me."
Oh yes, dude.
This whole scene,
this unnecessarily horrifying. Yeah.
Or when he's like, "Hey, little boy, what are you?" When he's talking to him, he's like, "Don't touch me," like that. That it sent me. It was pretty funny because I'm like, yeah, dude, that guy sucks.
Dude, and the sound effect of him smacking him in the face is so satisfying.
Yeah.
Just whack one time, whole head spins around.
Correct, God, so funny. Who would go to a possum park? But like, yeah, it's the most goofy thing ever. It's literally goofy.
Yes.
So, they everything was kind of hit hard, like just on the nose, and it was okay. Like we weren't like, oh, that's like it was like
I think
that's funny.
I think the point too. I mean, not the point, but the Ents Attack Isengard Award best scene is tough because I really didn't like not enjoy any scene. There was no scene as which I was like, man, I can't wait till this is over. Like I got to speed through this. There was nothing that I was like, I don't want to watch this. Every part, every single act. I feel like there were multiple different acts, but there was probably like 5 or 6. But anyway, all the scenes felt, I mean, they were story driven. So they weren't unnecessary. They weren't fluff. They went to the Possum Park to advance the character's arc. They went camping to advance the character's arc. They were at the hotel. Like everything was important. And so nothing felt like, why am I doing this? Every single part told you something about the relationship between the father and the son and how they were each missing each other, how they were each not communicating. So they all felt necessary.
What was it like? I think the runtime is like 82 minutes too. So it's like it's
pretty quick.
It's just an easy, digestible movie with that goes piece to piece to piece to piece, no fluff. They didn't try to pump it up for money, and it ended up making double the money they put into it. I still don't know how you spent $18 million on this, but then again, animating in '95 was like, people were like, yeah, I'm drawing every scene.
Painstakingly drawing every scene. Yeah.
Give me money.
True.
And now I have the spark memories, but we already went there.
Yes.
So, what about characters?
Favorite characters? I mean, I did love Max. I very much felt like I related to Max, but I actually feel like I related more to Goofy. I love Goofy's character. Yeah, I felt real bad for him several times. Like I rewatching this, and now maybe it's different. Okay, pre-watch, I relate more to Max. After watching it, I feel like I relate more to Goofy, having a son. So because I'm like superimposing Ezra onto everything Max is doing, and dude, the scene where they are in the car because Bigfoot is outside is, first of all, hilarious. Every part of that is so freaking funny. And I also feel like my dad would do that when he's reaching for the ABC soup and he can't get it through the window because he's like holding it the wrong way. And Max puts his hand and is like, what are you doing? And just turns it. That's my dad. My dad would do that. So that felt very relatable. But the Hi Dad soup scene, oh my dude, that got me. I had some actual tears in my eyes with that one. That one got me bad because I'm thinking about all the times I'm going to say to Ezra, hey, remember when you used to do this? He was like, I don't remember that at all. You know?
No,
I don't remember that at all. And I'm going to be like,
also,
it was the
shut up and get out of
exactly. I'm going to be like, it was the cutest thing in the world. And I loved it. And then he like, you know, appeases his dad and like does it again. Oh, that wrecked me, dude. Wrecked me.
Yeah.
So,
you know how many times I was like, I looked over at Kate. I'm like, I go, Goofy, talk to your son, and Max, tell your dad what you want. God,
just talk to each other,
and then they do.
And then they do, and it's so good. Him, and then also, why am I blanking on the character? Polly Shore, Bobby. Oh my gosh, I freaking love him so much. Bobby was great, and PJ, just probably because he's adorable. Come on.
And he's the voice of what's Jimmy Neutron's best friend?
Oh, I never watched Jimmy Neutron. I never saw that movie. I know.
What? It's the same voice. I can't even do his
really?
voice. The breathy, but yeah, same voice actor who does. God, what's his name? He's the nerdy redhead best friend of Jimmy Neutron. He all plays PJ, and I like PJ too a lot. It's so funny. I like PJ. Obviously, I identify with Max as well because that's the way I handle things.
Oh, yes.
Like, I'm like, oh, I really want to do this thing, but I'm going to go along with what you want to do for a year.
Ah, okay.
Right? That's something that I'm actively working on. Being like, hey, I want this.
Yes.
I'm doing this, and you can do what you're doing.
Exactly.
Kate. Like, that's what me and her are both working on that. So that was just, that hit home with me. And then I was happy. Yeah, I identified with him, and like the whole wanting to perform thing, and then having your heart set on something, and then not being able to do it. And
yes,
and though my father wasn't like Goofy, but I also agree. The whole, you know, anytime dad shows love to his son, that's not that, like, you know, our dads are awesome, we love them, but like that's just not the way that they naturally.
Exactly.
They didn't go there immediately. It took like effort,
exactly,
which I understand. So I loved Max, PJ, obviously, just mostly the voice and just like the role he plays because he's just the goofy comic relief.
His voice is so good,
really easy to root for. And then I freaking Roxanne.
Oh, come on!
So do you know what did it? So the whole girl next door thing, like is just the best. But like the way that she would always get like nervous and then pull her knees up, I'm like, God, that's cute,
dude.
Like, it's the equivalent of, like, putting your fingers out and tapping the ends together and be like, I'm shy
right
now.
Yeah.
Like that. She was just always like, I'm cute and I don't know it.
I'm cute.
And he's like, she's the one.
Yes.
Like, I was like, that's what I want. And she's the best. And then, of course, she's just the most down-to-earth, you know, high school girl ever, who just completely understands everything and is the best.
Yeah.
So... but I was just like, Roxanne's lucky to have him. He's lucky to have her. And of course, her name's Roxanne.
Oh, dude. I freaking, loved Roxanne.
Hey, listener, it's me, zero-time all-star Trevor May from MCA Media, the ultimate destination for discussions about tech, gaming, content creation, and everything in between. I just wanted to pop in and let you know 2 very important things. 1, you smell incredible today. 2, the May Contain Action Network now has an ever-expanding catalog of great shows, like the D&D-centric Forgotten Pass, Goblins and Growlers, and Quid Pro Roll, or the phenomenal Fortnite podcast Invaulted, hosted by Squatting Dog. Give them a listen, level up your podcast game, and have some fun. Shows are linked in the show notes. Quick little anecdote actually on that. There's actually 2. By the way, first thing, Pauly Shore was actually not in the credits.
Really?
For some reason. He was uncredited for playing literally a character with lines, which makes
literally
zero
a character with lines. Okay.
Zero
Yikes.
sense. Also, Roxanne was designed to resemble a young woman rather than an anthropomorphic dog. She doesn't look like a dog.
Yeah.
To make her more relatable. So that they designed her to make you feel like she's the girl next door and more human. So that we based like her, like I like her.
Dude. That's why when I was a kid, I was like, she's hot as hell, but she's a dog. I don't know how to feel about
her
it.
and Lola Bunny, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Lola and Space Jam. Jesus. I'm like, this is not right. This is not right. I'm 8. This is wrong.
I am 8.
That's a bunny.
Oh my gosh.
Why is that bunny so hot?
I recently realized too, a sidebar, is MJ in Spider-Man the Animated Series. Holy crap. Was she hot? Super random. But I'm like, oh my gosh, MJ. So freaking hot.
You guys need to stop.
And I mean, I guess maybe this is, I don't think it's mean. It's fine. In the new game, Spider-Man 2, MJ is nice and just pretty, but just nowhere near the level of hotness that I feel like I imagined MJ to have. And I was like, oh no, is she based off the voice actress?
I'm disappointed.
Is she based off that person? I'll feel like a jerk. And everyone's like, no, she looks nothing like that. I'm like, then they made a random blah character for no reason? And I was like, okay, all right, fine. Like, I don't know. Like, give her.
Sometimes that happens.
I don't know. Cheekbones.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Also, real quick pause. Unfortunately, they're recording here. I'm not seeing waveform on Zencaster. Are we sure I'm being recorded?
I have
okay.
It.
All right.
If you're not, it's okay. Mine's super fast too. Sometimes you're like zoomed way.
Okay.
In.
All right. Thank God. I was like,
but I got it. Also, this is great too. So we're gonna just let's do 5 seconds of silence.
Okay.
Just so that I can put the mid roll in, and then we're gonna chop all this out too. So actually, to be honest, this probably is good. So I'm gonna put like a there we go. Oh, like there's a big waveform, so I can find this. And now you may continue on with the quotes.
Okay. All right. A little sip of my tea there. Okay. All right. So some of the favorite quotes of the movie. I will go first. One of my favorite quotes is actually towards the beginning. And for some reason, this was like my first toe dip into the multiverse. When Goofy's like, I'm going to go on a vacation with my best friend. And Max is like,
yeah.
Donald Duck? I was like, what? Like they could talk about other characters in movies they're not in? Like that somehow blew my mind. Leaning Tower of Cheesa, of course, is fantastic. I freaking
Shatter! It's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
And then for some reason, when Bobby says, don't get that attitude with me, guys. I'm doing this all for you. Like, for some reason, that just felt like really aggressive. Like, no one was even coming after him like that. Like, it was just like Max was like, I'm not sure about this, guys. And he's like, hey, don't get that attitude with me. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, sorry.
Trigger.
Exactly. So those are some of my favorites. I mean, there's the whole movie is just full of quotes that I freaking loved. But those are the main 2 that like stuck out to me for some reason. I don't know. Those brought the most nostalgia.
The cheddar one is, I think, probably the most
cheddar.
quotable.
Yes,
it's the one that Leaning Tower of Cheesa, which he then, I think he calls back later with his dad. He makes a Leaning Tower of Cheesa, and he says
Does
that.
He?
He's like, look, Dad, it's the Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
I didn't even remember that.
I don't know if I think he's like, it's like they're like in a store or something. He's not like shooting cheese whiz into his mouth. The same
Oh,
way. I don't
okay.
know. Mine were Goofy says, "You're my son, Max. No matter how big you get, you'll always be my son." I was like,
Oh, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. And then Max, when he's pumped about Roxanne talking to him, he goes, "She talked to me, man. I mean, she like talked to me like I was a normal human being." And I'm like, "Yeah, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
that. Girls
Yep.
do that. They like you
Yes.
sometimes when you
Yep.
don't even know." And then PJ saying some like when I was 8, I was like, "Your dad's not gonna murder you. He's just gonna kill you." That's all.
Yeah.
So, like, you're not gonna actually die, but yeah, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble probably. And PJ just kind of being aloof and being like, I look at my RV. We obviously are rich, which is weird. I'm like, so Pete owns the picture taking company and therefore can have a bowling alley.
Yeah, within a mall. Like,
I mean,
dude, that just shows you what it was like back then. I mean, you could bag groceries and have a 3-bedroom house. It's crazy.
Yeah. So just like, if you want to know how inflation's going, watch a Goofy movie.
True. Actually, just before then too, talking about like dad quotes and everything, I loved as well. It's actually right before your quote. Max says, "I'm not your little boy anymore, Dad. I've grown up. I've got my own life now." And Goofy's, "I know that. I just wanted to be a part of it." Oh,
I'm like, why are you such a dick, Max?
oh, freaking killed me, dude. Freaking killed me.
So
Father-son stuff, dude. Father-son stuff. And then, literally the entire like diatribe that what the Mazer goes on talking about Max, like he was dressed up as a gang member and incited a riot, and like then questions his parenting ability and says he's gonna end up in an electric chair. Like,
yeah,
whoa, like
in the electric chair. I'm like, also gang member. What are you trying to say, man?
Exactly. You know who didn't feel like a minority in that? Mazer. He was like he was the crotchety old white dude who was like dressed up like a gang member.
Mazer, which is my DJ name, which I hate now. What the actor who does his voice is the guy from Princess Bride.
Yes. Yep.
I cannot remember his name. It's basically it's like Patton Oswalt, but he's not Patton Oswalt.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Yeah, the guy with the lisp and the bald guy.
Principal
puts him through.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah. What's his name? We should probably look this up.
We probably should. I mean, we got a whole podcast about it. It's terrible.
We do all this preparation,
voice.
And then
Wallace Shawn is the voice. Wallace Shawn.
I didn't know that's what his
Wallace
name
Michael
was.
Shawn. Yeah, this
now
guy from
Wallace
Princess
Michael
Bride.
Shawn is Princess Bride and a bunch of other stuff. He's in a bunch of comedies and stuff.
Killer voice. Killer.
I'm gonna Shrunk the Kids. I think. I don't know. Yeah, but killer voice is very, very recognizable. What do we have? What's the
music? Yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry, music. Next up. All right. So, best music.
I think we know what the best music was.
The best music is the last scene. I think the best music is the last scene, and only because of this. I love the first opening scene and the music there. They do call it back like 4 times throughout the rest of the movie, and then they do it the eye to eye at the end, which is a different song completely. It feels like they do like
stand out.
Yes, they do stand out. Probably 3 or 4 times, and like 2 of the times are like almost rewritten reprisals with different lyrics, with the same tune. But Eye to Eye is the best, hands down. There's no question.
Yeah, Eye to Eye is the best, and these were both performed by Tevin Campbell. Tevin,
not
Campbell.
Kevin,
not Kevin. Tevin. Though I don't know what Tevin did, but like, bro, like. Those could have been top 100 hits if they were just on the radio.
Oh my gosh!
Like
dude,
they were as Michael Jackson-y as you can possibly get. Obviously, the character of Powerline's based on Michael Jackson / Prince, because it was towards the end of Prince's Prince was a little older, and Michael Jackson. This was like honestly both of them kind of were, but like towards they're in their primes a little bit, and it was but like the moonwalk, like it's pretty on the nose, and they're wearing gloves and like
Yeah.
Powerline's actually an awesome name, by the way.
Dude.
But Tevin Campbell crushed it. I don't know what else he did though. Like, but I'm like, dude, you crushed these songs.
He killed him.
I don't know if he wrote them, but he performed them. I want to know what he's doing now. Maybe we gotta revisit that next week and see what.
Oh
Tevin
yeah,
Campbell's
see what
up to.
Tim was. Maybe he's like I've been releasing albums every other year for the past. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's probably been making music we just don't know.
Maybe he has
about
a Goofy Movie podcast. And
we don't even know about it. Yeah, Tevin Campbell absolutely crushed those songs. And finding them after the fact. So I'm also a big Hercules fan. And finding the original songs from Hercules was actually more difficult than it should have been.
Really?
Yes. And Tevin Campbell was a little bit easier to find. But I'm also, at the same time, like, I don't understand who's in charge at Disney, because it feels like so much money could be made off of the sale of the music from these animated movies, and they're just not taking advantage of it. Like, there was no real, like, the best one I could find, at least for Hercules, was like Kevin Bacon or someone like redid it. I'm like, I don't want this guy. Give me the original. And so even Tevin Campbell, I'm like, make this into some sort of like remix, or bring Tevin back for more Goofy Movie style things. I remember talking to, I immediately forget his name, Zero, from Holes. I don't know why.
Oh my God,
Cleo Thomas. Holy crap! So I'm talking to Cleo about it, and apparently there's a lot of like licensing issues that happen with Goofy Movie, where they like couldn't for some reason. So we might have to dig into that. Again, we have a podcast around this, and this is the topic, but we didn't look at that.
we should
look that up.
Well,
but anyway, I agree with you. I freaking love Tevin Campbell. I want to know what he's up to. Eye to Eye is top 10 favorite songs of all time.
It's maybe Disney has soundtracks, and this one is up there.
Yes.
But it's also a very specific. It's kind of a musical too. There's two.
It is.
Isn't there two musical numbers where they're singing that aren't Powerline songs?
Oh,
too?
at least. I mean, there's the one where they're on the floating down on the car on the river. Which, by the way, get the
one in the beginning
model of that car, because holy crap, that thing held up. My goodness,
incredible.
I think it's probably Toyota. 100% Toyota. So
it's a Yaris.
yes, and then there's another one when they're driving on the way, like when they first start the trip. There's a little musical number there.
Yeah, one when he's on his way to school.
Yep, exactly. That too.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's basically a little musical.
Go listen to the soundtrack. It's probably on Spotify.
All right, next topic. Memorabilia, rather.
What do we
Anything
want?
you want to own from this movie? What do you want from this movie? What are you thinking?
So I want Powerline's outfit. I mean, I want to be Powerline every day. I want some Powerline PJs. I just want Powerline everywhere. Because he's sick. And then obviously Pete and PJ's RV.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because and then
I didn't think about that.
You know, just for running errands and things, the possum suit.
For running errands.
just the possum suit where I'm like, hey, little boy, welcome to Buc-ee's. No, sorry.
Why, dude? Even when I was a kid too, it always felt like shade when that possum was like, "You're so sad." Oh, like making fun of him.
Yeah, just like poking.
It's like
him.
you're mad, bro.
Like he has a stick. He's like, "You mad, bro? You mad, bro?"
So sad. That's a good one. I didn't think about the RV. All right, mine is the Powerline, the before it was vacuumed cardboard cutout. I want that in my room as well.
Oh yeah, the fat head, yeah.
I want that in my room. I want the waterbed from the motel. I need it. I need that waterbed. I know that they're very uncomfortable, but I want it anyway. I don't care. I want little fish in it. I want that waterbed. And then, lastly, I want the pizza that they eat in the motel. That pizza
Doesn't it look so
looked
good?
Unbelievable.
I forgot about that, man. I bet you that made me want pizza so many times as a kid.
My goodness. The cheese never does that. It's like, oh my God, you want it. Every time I would pick up a slice of pizza from a box, I would hope it would do what it would do in the Goofy movie. It never did. It's just like,
how much pizza do you think that scene sold, and then just combine it with like anything Ninja Turtles? Like how much pizza was being peddled because of those two pieces of children's content?
Probably being propped up. I mean, Pizza Hut sales alone are probably 90% from those two avenues.
Yeah, and we have covered that. Pizza Hut sucks, and they made lots of money. So bad. Awful.
So freaking bad. Those are good memorabilia. All right. Last award. The cream of the crop award. If you don't know,
Where's
when
it
you would
rank?
harvest the crop, you'd have cream that would rise to the top. That's how you would get the cream from the milk.
It's a popular saying in
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Freaking love it there. How does it stack up against other similar animated movies around the same time? And where does it rank on this list? All right. So here are a couple of movies that came out around that time. It's Toy Story, 1995.
Big one.
Big one. Big one. Pocahontas, 1995. The Lion King, 1994. Aladdin in 92. Beauty and the Beast in 1991. The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 96. Friggin' Space Jam in 96. James and the Giant Peach, 96. Balto, who I've never heard of, in 1995. So that's on the bottom.
Classic. You should check it
And
out. Pretty good.
Jumanji at 95. Dude, the 90s.
So you're telling me. You're telling me same year as Goofy movie was Toy Story, Pocahontas,
Dude,
and Jumanji.
that's why Goofy
and
movie.
then the next year is Hunchback,
Yes.
Space Jam, and James and the Giant Peach.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this was like the original Infinity Saga. I mean, this was like just a series of relatively unrelated movies, a majority of which are Disney. If not all of these. Are all of these Disney?
They're all Space Jam. I don't know if it's Disney.
Yeah, Space Jam would be Warner
no,
Brothers.
it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah. But dude,
I don't know if James and the Giant Peach is either. It might be like Sony.
yeah. So
Balto is, Jumanji is.
yes, okay. So of these, another father-son story, Jumanji. I mean,
Where would it be
for
here?
me, I think that this movie, oh my gosh.
It's
It's
tough.
tough.
It's a tough one.
It's tough. This is okay. So I think two rankings. One is where I think it should land, and then the second one is where I think it lands. I think this movie lands, of all of these absolute bangers, somewhere probably middle of the road. Just as far as like how well it did, how well it was received, you know what I mean? The money it made, all that kind of stuff. The licensing and merchandise deals that came from it, all that kind of stuff. Maybe middle of the road, maybe even possibly less. For me, it's number 2. If not number 1. Yeah.
Really? Like of that list, like if you were like, here's your choices.
Yes. Yeah.
For to watch, and you haven't seen any of them in a long
Because
time.
I still watch scenes from a Goofy movie on a semi-regular basis. I'll just get the mood to watch eye to eye scene, and I'll watch that. There are no other things I want to see from these movies at any given time.
So it's how long you think about Rome.
Exactly. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
It's your Roman
Yes.
Empire. It's yours is the Goofy movie. Yeah, I mean, I'm very similar. I would say I have like 6th or 7th at best, probably because Toy Story is like the Disney movie. Pocahontas, incredible. Also, soundtrack, Pocahontas is up there.
Soundtrack.
It is up
I'm
there.
on. Yes.
Now it's no Mulan, but it's
Oh.
close. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
yes.
what other movie had 98 Degrees and Christina Aguilera sing songs for it? Okay.
True.
Anyway, that was neither here nor there. Aladdin, incredible. Beauty and the Beast is maybe one of the classics. Hunchback, soundtrack.
Oh,
Space Jam, Lola Bunny.
come on.
Honestly, James and the Giant Peach and Balto are like meh. And then Jumanji, come on, Robin Williams. In his
Exactly,
prime.
dude.
Like movie's awesome.
So
So
good.
it's like, yeah, I would say I'd probably I would say it probably maybe 4 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say Toy Story, I would say Pocahontas, and Space Jam probably are all getting watched before it, and then it's like tied with Jumanji probably in terms of like what I would watch.
Yeah.
But in overall, it's like 7th or 8th, and just like it's probably ahead of Balto and James and the Giant Peach.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd say it's ahead of that.
And that's it.
Maybe Hunchback.
That's really
maybe, but
Maybe Hunchback.
but Hunchback was super, super popular. And also too, I mean, I know this is kind of a ways off. Yeah, it's kind of outside this range of a couple of years. Tarzan was released in '99.
Phil
Phil
Collins.
Collins crushing it. I mean, it was like the '90s was a great time to be a kid. A great time. There was so much good stuff there. So, yeah, I would say that it ranks probably number 1. I love Toy Story, but hot damn does Eye to Eye get me jacked up.
It does. It's the song, man. It just gives it all the
Exactly.
points. Gives it all the points. we have the voice actors. I want a real quick context. The recast or not? Who would recast these roles? I thought this was just like for voice acting. It would be super interesting to see these. I mean, I have 5, but like these 5, see what they.
Damn.
Yeah, I think I added Bobby.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
Sorry if that's not there. If you want to just noodle that, but so some of these would be pretty. I think would be interesting to hear these people trying to do these things. So, so for my recast or not, for Bobby, Corey Feldman.
Oh,
Mouth. Bring Mouth in. He can do it and speak Spanish. Maybe he throws some Spanish in there. I don't know. Corey's got the Pauly Shore kind of. He can do the like, what's up, bro? I guarantee you could do it. Not quite as well. I mean, I don't know how you beat Pauly Shore. Full Pauly Shore, Encino Man, like, you know, what's up, brother? Yeah. Like you just can't beat it. Which I'm pretty sure I think he came out with Encino Man like a day or I don't know if you've seen Encino Man, by the way, with Brendan Fraser. See that movie? Because it's like Brendan Fraser's a caveman and they stumble upon him in the backyard and they freeze him and unfreeze him and then he's like alive again. It's a super stoner movie. You should watch it. But it's hilarious. You should definitely watch it. But he's the same character, but in real life.
Amazing. Okay.
So then I have Corey Feldman, and then for Max, Jake Johnson, who plays Nick in New Girl.
Okay. All right. Yes.
I think he would do. I think he would do good, and then PJ would be Adam Devine from Workaholics. Or you could actually flip him and Jake too.
Yeah, either one of those could do.
Like either one could do it. For Goofy, I refuse to think of anyone but Bill Farmer. He's been Goofy the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just no one but Bill Farmer can do Goofy. It would sound weird no matter who it is. I don't care. Bill Farmer is the guy. He is Goofy. Shut up. And then for Pete, Patrick Warburton.
Oh wait, Patrick. Who's that? Patrick Warburton.
Patrick Warburton. He plays Kronk in.
Yes, he does the wine commercial.
Yeah, here's the deal.
Yeah,
Goofy. Keep your kid in check. Like that's what I.
Yes.
Just lay the hammer down, Goofy.
Keep him under your thumb.
Keep him under your thumb, Goofy. He could deliver those lines well. Even though I don't see him being kind of the asshole dad as well. I just would love to hear his voice as a stern. I don't know. It just sounds like kind of out of his lane a little bit. But he's got such a good voice for voice acting that it would be cool to see him do it.
See, okay, I'm glad that you did this because I'm kind of lame. Not that I'm even struggling. Because I'm like thinking about like, oh, like I think maybe, you know, it'd be interesting to hear like Michael Cera as Max or like, you know, like kind of some of these, but I'm like, but then it would kind of ruin it for me. Like I love all of the voices of all of these characters so much that the thought of replacing them is like, I don't think I'd like that as much. Like it'd be interesting to hear them.
That's a great case.
But like when Pete,
it would be worse.
Yeah.
It would be worse.
When Pete talks, I'm like, that's how he sounds. That's exactly the voice that he needs to have. That's him. Obviously, Goofy, the same thing. I freaking love PJ's character. It's like he has that kind of, I don't really, like, you know, kind of unsure of himself, seeking dad's approval voice. I think they nailed that. And then Bobby being Pauly Shore. I mean, I don't know that anyone could do Leading Tower of Cheesa or Cheddar the way Pauly Shore could do it in the 90s. So I mean, maybe it's a cop out, but I was kind of like, I think that they're cast perfectly.
Yeah, the choices were the right choices, and honestly, I think the characters were developed based on the voices too.
I think you're right. Too. I think they built them around those characters.
So that it's just smooth, and this is more of like a thought experiment. Like, what would that be like? What would their vibe be like? It would be definitely a different.
It would be,
but
yes.
But it would be hilarious to see. I just think Jake Johnson can do everything. I think he's so funny. This is like. What do you mean? What do you mean?
So good.
Like, the way he is like that is God, there's a video of him and Schmidt doing a press.
Bro, I've watched it like 30 times. Yeah.
Where he just gets every detail wrong and they cannot stop laughing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. They're like, please watch it.
If you're on Canal Street, that's in Memphis.
When he goes, he just points to the camera, he's like, please watch it. Schmidt cannot speak. He is crying, laughing into his face.
It's so good. I love that show. I wish it was still going. It's.
What do you mean?
Perfect. What?
I'm dating them both. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
That's not
What
possible.
do you mean?
That's not how it works. What do you mean? But you broke up with Cece. No, I didn't. What do you mean?
A white man. Typical. It just, dude, everything about those characters is gold.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Great show.
All right,
Great show.
here we are. Our final rating, actually. So I lied. This is our final one.
This is the final rating. This is the end. We're wrapping up.
So nostalgia, how we remember it versus the rewatch. I remember this movie as being, I mean, it's tough. I'm trying to be as like critical, like I'm a movie critic, but also like what it meant to me.
You love it.
So I freaking love this movie. This movie, like I said, is like at least 25% of my entire personality. This was a 10 out of 10 nostalgia for me. And then coming back for the rewatch, it changed, but it's still 10 out of 10. Because now I'm viewing it from Goofy's perspective more. And it's just hitting in a whole new way. Like watching kids' movies through the eyes of the parent is like hitting. And this movie is still one of my favorite movies of all time. It is so good. I mean, I don't know that any movie could be perfect, but I mean, maybe 9.5, 9.7. I don't know what I'd change.
9.7. It's just that movie for you.
It is.
To be honest, let's be very clear. The person who chooses the movie is going to get a very good rating.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
And I gave a 7.5 because 7's kind of like my it's in my pantheon. Like it's part of my group of movies that I like to watch. I would like to watch multiple times or like check in on through the rest of my life. So I gave it a little bit above that. I think it's in the top half of that list. And then coming back, the same thing, being a little older, understanding Goofy's perspective a little bit more, and then watching them grow, like mature in their relationship together, which is like a lot of people are focused on right now. It's a very making those changes is very like talked about right now in our culture, and watching a movie do it really, really well and show that like in a fun way. So it bumped it up to an 8. It's an 8 for me, 8 out of 10, which is a very good rating. There's very few I have in the 9s. I mean, they're the Lord of the Rings movies or Christopher Nolan flicks mostly, and then with a couple other random ones in there. But like 8 out of 10s, especially when it comes to animation, like that's so I really appreciated. I think it's important that this movie exists and that more people should actually revisit it. I would highly recommend you do it if you're trying to feel good about the possibilities of things getting better. Like it's just a wholesome people overcoming stuff and dreams being realized in different ways, and everything kind of, it's hard but it works out, and that's kind of what life is. So I really enjoyed the movie, and I'm 8 out of 10.
I agree. I love that.
Yeah. Keep it going, Disney. Stop leaning so heavily on Marvel, please.
My gosh.
Let me get some, though there are some good Marvel things out. There's not many.
Oh,
so
dude.
Figure it out.
Freaking even Loki. So good.
All right, well, can I touch on a couple Easter eggs? I have a couple here. So I think this is a nice thing that we could do and just touch in right at the end if we have time. A couple quick Easter eggs on this movie, The Hidden Mickeys. As with many Disney films, a Goofy movie includes several hidden Mickeys throughout the film. These are representations of Mickey Mouse's head or silhouette, or subtly incorporated into different scenes. So they do that a lot too. Like when it's Disney, they get callbacks to lots of different characters, right?
Yes.
There's also there's a scene where Goofy and Max are on the open road and they pass by a motel with a sign reading Walt D's Motel. It's a reference.
I didn't even realize that. Cool.
Which is a clear nod. And then Max's schoolmates. If you look around, some of Max's schoolmates resemble younger versions of characters from like DuckTales, Tailspin, and so the idea that like Donald Duck and Goofy are best friends, that you would assume, since there's really no internet at this time, that they live in the same place. Obviously, Donald Duck's relatives are probably going to be
all Duck
in school with Max.
I realized, I was like, is this entire world dogs? There's no other type of character other than just dogs.
There's a lot of dogs, which but you can see like in the background at the concert that there's other characters and things too.
Wow.
If you really look, just like that, it's like allusions to them too. There's like Donald's not there, but like you're like that could be someone related.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
To just kind of and they like animated a lot of different. There was not a lot of like buzzy audience like shots. Like you could see every character.
Yes.
Like they drew a lot of characters in the crowds. Reacting and stuff, which was cool. Which isn't what a lot of like they didn't have to do that. And so, but that's Disney. Disney did that. They Easter egg like this a lot. Like Toy Story's got 1,000 of them. Right?
Yep.
So it's I love the way they do that because it's another fun thing to do when you're rewatching because you're catching new stuff even to this day.
Agreed.
And we touched on some of the anecdotes too with the cameo. Cameo has, by the way, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are in it very briefly during a song.
Am I blind? How did I miss all this?
On the open road, they're like
oh,
hitchhiking.
that's right. Of course. Yes. Okay. On the open road. Yep. Okay.
So they try to do that too. So that's like a cool little. They just try to get them in there somewhere to give them the illusion. By the way, this is Disney, and go watch our other movies.
By the way, we have other things.
Yeah. So great movie, cool. Like Disney, this is one of prime Disney. This was their formula.
Yeah.
They did it in a time where they had hit banger after banger after banger after banger, and I think.
Oh my gosh, it does. And also, just a little side personal Easter egg for myself. Lisa, the popular high school girl, probably one of the hottest anthropomorphic beings ever. I was like, you should when she was into him after the performance into Max. I was like, bro. I mean, I love Roxanne, but
forget Roxanne,
damn,
dude. Yeah. That chick's got experience.
Oh, dude. I mean, her midriff is showing. Oh.
Yeah, a lot of dog midriffs.
Dog drift. Midriff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. Kind of a lot.
Not weird though, but like weird. But like I'm like, how am I attracted to these dogs am I supposed to be?
Yeah, it really makes you question. Like as a kid, you don't even question it. You're just like, oh yeah, Roxanne's hot. But as you're older, it's like, that's a drawing and it's a dog. So am I okay?
No.
Like
now I'm thinking about it. Lola, a lot of midriff as well. A lot of belly button. A lot of bunny belly button.
Yeah, Lola Bunny. Yeah. Did they make her not as hot in the new movie?
Yeah. Definitely. Lola was.
Interesting.
She was up there with like Cameron Diaz in The Mask. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you like all these references I'm throwing out? So by the way, The Mask. Put that on the list.
The Mask is on the list. Honestly, anything Jim Carrey did in the 90s should be on the list.
I think that's going to be, I'm going to pick one of those.
So good.
Which one? We're doing Bruce Almighty? We're doing Liar Liar? Are we doing?
Dude, Ace Ventura. Were we?
Oh! Yeah, he Truman Show. Dude,
the Truman Show.
He carried Hollywood for about 5 years. He carried Hollywood. He was in everything. Dumb and Dumber. After Dumb and Dumber, it was just like, whoa.
It's incredible. All right, I think we have some options for the next one.
What a week. Yeah.
Well, this has been a trip down memory lane as it always is. I'm glad that you liked it. I feel bad now that I wasn't as jazzed about the last one. I am so sorry. I feel bad.
You know what? Hey, you'd never seen it. We're gonna run into those.
That's true. And I'm really enjoying. I immediately forget his name. Data's performance in Loki. So that he's in freaking Loki, and I love
Jonathan.
Every time he's on the gosh darn screen, I get excited. I'm like, I love this guy. Love it.
He's the best. And his voice, bro. It's his voice. It's his freaking voice.
Good. I thought it would change as he got older. It didn't. It's the same voice.
It didn't at all.
It's the same exact pitch.
I was like, that's Data. I knew it because it's so specific. I just knew it immediately. I didn't even see him in the movie yet, and I knew it was him.
All right. This has been a pod. Hey, Trevor, thanks for joining me on the pod today.
Yeah, my pleasure. I can't wait for the next
excited for the next one. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching the May Contain Action podcast. Find us wherever podcasts are available, on all of them, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Watch us on YouTube. And if you do, wherever you are, leave a little review. Let us know what you thought of the episode, what you think we should do next, any ideas for new movies. Heck, leave an emoji for engagement. Do it all. Give it a...
Yes, thank you, Harris Heller.
Thanks, Harris Heller. I'm gonna steal that every time. Also, give us 5 stars if you liked it. If you didn't, just skip that part. Thank you for...
Or give us 5 stars.
Just do it anyway. Yeah. Thank you for participating in the May Contain Action podcast. Find us everywhere, and we'll find you on the next episode. When is it going to be?
Next week.
There it is. Next week. We'll see you next time.